Today's video, we're going to talk about Locksmith PPC strategy that brings in 1,000% ROI on your total return on investment. When you look at all the sales that the ads bring in on Google Ads, Microsoft Ads, when you add that in there as well as some other side benefits, which I'm going to talk about. Namely, it helps your SEO strategy out and the overall package of return that you get from the strategies I'm going to cover here, what we used before in the locksmith space that you will get. And then I'm going to explain what the strategies are and then how to replicate these actually for yourself. And then if you stay at the end of the video, I'll even talk about the closing rates on the leads that you're going to get from each of these main channels of different types of keywords / services that you're going to want to target that are the so-called bread and butter, what we found out locksmith space that works. And then also the top ad copy that we've had that's getting the highest click-through rates, 20% click-through rates, using it. With that said, I'll go through all of that and more. If you do not know who I am yet, I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge management fees to our clients until we get them a certain minimum lift in their profitability up front in excess of what the fees that we basically charge are. So we're paying ourselves out of the additional profit we're bringing the company, or on a new campaign, we'll promise to get them so much lift in the sales up front. With that said, that should tell you something about the quality of the information that you're receiving on today's video, given it's coming from an agency that is able to do that for their clients and been in business over 10 plus years doing this exact thing. With that said, going into the content here now. So the main thing I like to do with my ad strategies at our firm, where we're trying to guarantee results for our clients, we're going to start with one strategy and do it right. And then we're going to roll out the next, and then the next, and then the next, just like you should actually do. Why? Because if you spread your ad budget across too many things at once, even like multiple platforms at once, it's going to take longer to get to an initial return on what you're doing. A campaign needs so much data. The machine learning algorithms behind Google, Microsoft, all these other platforms need so much data to know that your ads and landing pages are good. So you actually end up getting the type of return I'm talking about here. So therefore, it's better to start with one. And with that said, you want to start with either locksmith keywords, as per what I found out in the locksmith space, or auto lockout keywords is probably the best bet, given they both are profitable and they have a decent amount of volume with it as well. Whereas auto key reprogramming, that's profitable as well, but the volume isn't quite the same. So with that said, I'm going to go through what is the actual cost per call, the conversion rate on these, the clicks that you're paying for, click-through rates, and everything else that you can expect from doing this, as well as actually how to get these exact same results for yourself. So starting with the locksmith keywords, this is going to be your locksmiths near me, locksmith services, locksmith companies. Similar to that, just locksmith, targeting that keyword as well, which by the way, I'd recommend doing that last. The locksmith near me and the like is going to be significantly more profitable short term, so you should just do that by itself. And at the beginning, if you've seen my other videos, I talk about trying to start with exact match only. Why? Because it's going to get you a quicker return. Then if you can't get any more out of exact match only, you go phrase match. On top of that, if you know anything about the other videos that I've watched before about how I structure search campaigns, it's always going to be single keyword ad group campaigns that are going to get you the best results by far. We're talking 5-10 times the results you're going to get from having several keywords in a campaign and one ad for everything. With that said, there's a few hundred different ways that you can target these locksmith keywords. And what you want to do is create a unique ad and a unique landing page to go with each one if you really want the most results out of this and get some of the results that I'm talking about here that you can get targeting keywords in this space on Google Ads and Microsoft Ads. If you do what I mentioned, using single keyword ad groups, know how to actually set up a good landing page that can get 30-40% conversion rates, 50% conversion rates, which you absolutely can do that if you just know what the hell you're doing when it comes to making landing pages, which a lot of people think it's easy. Oh, the page says locksmith. Oh, why do I need to spend $5,000 for an amazing landing page? When reality is your landing page will get 10%, mine will get 40%, and that's what the literal difference is between profitability and not having any profit, or almost none. So if you can get the right landing page together to go with your single keyword ad group campaigns, and you have each ad that matches the keyword people type in, and therefore the landing page headline matches the keyword people type in, you should be at around $6 a call for any place that's not in a highly populated area. So we're talking about like the Omaha, Nebraskas or Columbus, Ohio, stuff that's fairly populated, but it's not, the top 10 or 20 metros, New York, Dallas. And in that case, you can expect calls to be like $15 a call or significantly more expensive. With that said, now these are numbers here that you should be able to get absolutely for yourself if you know how to set up a good landing page and set up your campaign the way that I mentioned, which if you want more detail on how to set up single keyword ad group campaigns, watch my video on the exact topic of that. You can search for it on my channel homepage in the search bar, as well as in general, just how I set up search campaigns on my other videos on this channel, which with that, you're not going to find better information online, I promise you, on how to set up search campaigns to bring out the absolute maximum return you can out of those campaigns, because I've set up thousands of campaigns over the last 20 years. And I've worked out the best way to do this. And if you want to know from somebody actually in the trenches doing the work on an ongoing basis, you want to watch this channel, because I spend 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm as my sole job. 70% of our work is through Google Ads anymore. So with that said, you want to subscribe to this channel if you're serious about making things work for yourself. You should also, while you're at it, check out my blog. I also have a fantastic blog with strategies we're actually using to guarantee results for our clients, laid out there with screenshots, with everything you need. So you should definitely check that out as well. You can find that blog of mine at guaranteedppc.com/blog. So as I was mentioning here, after setting everything up the correct way, the way that I talk about on this channel, and waiting about 12 months to fully break in your ads, or after about 30,000 in ad spend, you will get those kind of numbers I'm talking about, no questions asked. Okay, why 30,000 in ad spend? Because again, like I was mentioning earlier, so many people underestimate this. People set up ads and they turn them on and it's not working. And then they say, oh, Google's a scam. And then they turn it off again. That's 90% of people's experiences and expectations with Google ads. If it were that easy to make money, everybody would be rich. Okay, if you could start up an ad campaign for $1,000, instantly make money, what's stopping every person in your entire market from doing Google ads? There has to be something that stops people from being able to do it. Otherwise, there'd be no opportunity. You have to set up the right ad, the right landing page that does better than your competition for Google to prefer to show you, charge you way less per click so you get the low end of the range on the Google Keyword Planner, not the high end of the range, and that you get the conversion rate that you need, given that Google also sends the traffic that's most likely to turn into a good lead to the person they want to stay around. And the person they want to stay around is the person who has the best click-through rates and the best conversion rates. That is the best ad and the best landing pages. You have to advertise for a while just for Google's system to see it, then the return's there. And that takes clicks, and clicks takes money, okay? Which, if you're on a particularly tight budget, you should go after just 1 or 2 keywords, even though it will take you longer to get up and going, because you're going to concentrate your spend on a smaller amount of keywords, and Google will figure out that those keywords work well and give you credit for all that, lower cost per click, better quality clicks, so forth, much sooner in the process. But if you're just targeting all the keywords related to locksmith services in general, then it's going to take $3,000 a month for a year to hit these type of numbers here for sure. These numbers are profitable all day long, especially since booking rate on those calls should be about 70%, because you're not misrepresenting anything. Now, with that said, on ad copy, a lot of people are tempted to put super low prices on their ads and to get as many calls as they can. With that said, I knew a client was actually doing that. $15 locksmith, whatever, and they were getting calls, but the booking rate's not very high. At the end of the day, that looks like the best option because it does get the best click-through rate. I'm suggesting not to do it and should just do this other ad strategy instead, which is with your single keyword ad groups, you're going to have, first of all, you have to know the few hundred ways people search for a locksmith. Not targeting 5 or 10 terms and being lazy about it, but the couple hundred terms. And each term gets its own laser targeted ad copy. So the headline of the ad matches the exact keyword or very close to it. If the keyword, for instance, is locksmith near me, you want to have the keyword say locksmith near you in, then the name of the city. And when I say city, I don't mean if you're in Chicago saying Chicago. I mean Lincoln Park, the name of the actual small city within the metro area that the user's actually in. Why? Because people don't want to get a locksmith that's not close, 1. 2, they don't want to call up a locksmith and waste their time calling somebody who won't go to their area. So you're eliminating uncertainty, and that will get you more action every single time. So if you want a 20% click-through rate, like I was saying you can get, this is the way that you have to do it. The lower the click-through rate you get, the more you're going to pay per lead, bottom line. So you can be as lazy as you want, it's just going to be damn expensive. Then also, on top of that, you want to have BBB A+ rating, which if you don't have it, it pays to get it because it gets the highest click-through rates for us, and mention how many years you're in business if you've been doing business for at least 10 years, because that'll instill the highest amount of trust for users on that ad, because if they aren't buying on price, they're buying on trust. The best way to get trust on the ad is years in business and A+ BBB rated, or mentioning your A+ BBB rated, because we've tested this over millions of dollars of ad spend. So the main things that people want to know right up front on your ad to decide if they're going to click on it or not, and there's 4 ads to click on, they want to know, can you do it? Do you cover the area? And can they trust you? Can you do it's covered by the single keyword ad group headline, where the keyword matches what they typed in exactly. Not kind of close, but exactly or very close to it. If you can't, because you'll seem robotic if you just regurgitate what they said, because it's nonsensical in terms of how they typed it in. Then you say where you're located, and not just the city as a whole, but the exact suburb they're in, because your competition won't do it, which is why you're going to get 20% click-through rates. You're going to do what they aren't willing to do, and you're going to get the massive return because of it. Then on top of it, they have to trust you. And again, years in business, A+ BBB rated. That's what's going to get the highest amount of trust. So you're giving them everything they need in a tight package, in an efficient package. We found it is the most effective way to communicate those 3 things. And as a result, you're making it easier for them to decide to buy. So they're going to go with you at a much higher rate than the competition. Then Google's going to see your ads are doing so much better than your competition. Then they're going to want to give you as many clicks as you can possibly get, because you're making it more likely that people will want to click on ads on Google in the future for them, which is why they give the benefit to the top 10-20% of advertisers, given that 4 ads at the top of Google, but there's probably 15 guys cycling in and out of those spots. They want to actually do everything they can to get the top guys to stay around. And the guys that have ads and landing pages, they don't want to spend, more than $50 to set up their campaign constantly until they leave. Or if you stick around and they'll continuously do it to you, because they have to send the person not likely to convert to somebody. And why are they going to send it to the guy they don't care if they stay around, or to the guy that they want to stay around? So you either get on Google's good side, or you're wasting your time basically with Google Ads anymore. That's the ad formula. Now, on top of that, in terms of additional something you could put on your ad, I would recommend also testing guaranteed lowest rate, because that will typically beat BBB A+ rated, 27 years in business. Why? Because a lot of people want the cheapest rate. Depending on where you're advertising, if it's a high-end market or a low-end market, one will typically pull over the other. If you're in a market where it's low income, guaranteed lowest rate's going to pull harder than A+ BBB rated, 27 years in business. You may not want to target that area, and if so, or if not, just do A+ BBB rated, 27 years in business by itself, because that's going to get higher end people to click through at a higher rate. And everything is just about getting click-through rate. And say what you have to do to get click-through rate, assuming you're not saying $15 locksmith, and then they get on the phone and they realize, it's a $40 per hour service call on top of the $15 we're just going out, which is, I understand why they do it, and it does work pretty well still, but at the end of the day, you end up taking a lot of calls, which don't book, so to say. You'll still make more money not promising a $15 service call if you say BBB A+ rated, 27 years in business, because we've tested this. So you don't have to be unethical to get and beat these other guys, especially when you're going to take the time to put the city that the user's in, the exact suburb the user's in the ad, and the keyword in the ad on top of it. You don't need to misrepresent yourself like that. So with that said, okay, now that's locksmith keywords. The basic same formula that I just told you about for targeting locksmith services, locksmith companies, and so forth is going to be the same exact thing you do for auto lockouts, except it's going to be auto lockout keywords, auto lockout services, auto lockout companies, auto lockout locksmiths, and the like. Okay. Ideally, again, you target the so-called buying terms, which means they have near me or services or companies on the end of the keyword. First, once you extracted all the value out of that, then you can go after auto lockout by itself and get what you can out of that, because it'll convert less, because there's a portion of that traffic who's not buyers, and the algorithm's going to need time to assess what cost per click is going to be profitable to get you the cost per conversion that you need, and it'll take some more runway to be able to the results you're looking for out of it. Then on top of it, like I said, you're going to eventually bring in phrase match as well. And you, by the way, are going to put the phrase match keywords in the same ad groups that have your exact match keywords in it. Once you actually hit a roof on what you can do with exact match only, that's going to get you the return the fastest from the start. That said, the auto lockout keywords, I would recommend if you had to pick one or the other. I'm going to pick auto lockouts because the booking rate that we found by looking at our call rail account of our client was actually higher for auto lockouts, which is typical because the more long tail the keyword that we're targeting, and it doesn't matter what market it is, the higher the conversion rate you're going to get on the traffic because people are more certain on what they want. If they type in locksmith services, that person ultimately doesn't really know maybe what they need. Whereas if they're telling you exactly what they need, they're going to convert at a higher rate. That's just how it works. So, and with that, we're getting about 85% booking rate on the auto lockout services keywords, whereas it was more like 70% for locksmith services and the like. The other reason why it would have a lower booking rate with locksmith keywords by itself is when somebody's locked out of their car, naturally they're going to be more serious as a buyer on top of it. And that's actually probably why, more so than, they were just being more specific as to why the return is better on it because of the higher booking rate. That all said, okay, the cost per call for the auto lockout keywords is similar to what you have for like locksmith services and the like, but you have a more serious buyer and you'll book at a higher rate. So therefore you would want to do that first if you have the choice, then do the locksmith keywords later. Some other tips here though, on top of that, I would recommend also starting with mobile keywords only. Not to say you can't get leads from desktop. It's just, again, it's a mixed bag and the return's pretty much immediate, especially if you do mobile traffic only for auto lockouts. Those people are it's the easiest to get to work right up front. So in desktop traffic, you can get the same cost per lead, but you'll have to pay less per click for a desktop click than a mobile click in order to get the same cost per lead as you're going to get with mobile versus desktop, just to let you know how that works. So it'll bring you in some extra business, an extra 10, 20, 30% more business doing desktop as well. And I would just recommend adding it in later when the mobile is starting to plateau in terms of results for you. That said, the key programming is something I would do once I got these set up already, which it's a higher return on investment targeting these. It's less competitive. The volume is not there though. It's not quite the same volume. With that, targeting people typing in auto key programming services and the like, you're going to get in a rural market or a smaller city market around $4 a call, which is damn cheap, which is why you want to do it and spend the time doing it, even though the volume's not going to be the same as this other stuff. And $9 a call if you're in a metro area like Chicago, stuff like that. If you set up also, again, your ads with single keyword ad groups, set up your ad like I mentioned, set up an excellent landing page, unique landing pages for each keyword to go along with everything else. Okay? Which, if you don't know about landing pages, the best thing I would tell you to do right up front, other than watch my videos about landing page design for local services on this channel, because I've got specific video on that exact topic you can search for on my channel homepage. You can also check out my site's landing page portfolio, where we make landing pages that get good results for our clients that we use to actually guarantee results for our clients. You go to my site, go to my landing page portfolio, and you can see really good examples of how a landing page needs to be laid out so it's simple. Because the key thing with it is the quicker you can convey the information the user needs to know, which is, can you do it? You cover their area and can they trust you? And just because you say Chicago again, it doesn't mean they know you cover their area. It doesn't. It just means maybe you cover their area. The more specific you are, meaning you have the unique search term that they search for on the headline of the landing page and the exact suburb they're in, higher the conversion rate you get, which is why you want to do it every time. But you can check out my portfolio and see a few local service campaigns, how that works. In terms of actually just from the simplicity side of things, how simple the page is. When you get to the page, you know right away, within a second, all those things that you would need to know right away. And the easier you make it for the user to know those things, the higher the conversion rate you get. That's the bottom line with it. By the way, if you want to get good results with your locksmith campaigns, you could do a couple things that would get it without having to go through and studying this stuff. If you don't have money, you study it, you do it for yourself. Much better off just reaching out to me at my agency, because we've done this before, and hire us. And we can guarantee you get to a certain minimum level results up front, like I mentioned before. Or you can just buy the template from us. We've been selling ad templates that work for 100 plus different niche markets. If we've already worked in a market, we could sell you the winning ad, landing page template, campaign template that you literally copy paste into your ad account. and to get the same results we're getting in a different geographic area or different country or whatever. People are literally starting whole other businesses from this. This is like the easiest way to start a business. Most people say, I want to sell this. How do I market it? Not, let's buy a template of one of the 100 successful templates Corey has for 100 different niche markets, and we'll just install it, and we'll know the results we're going to get, and we'll find a way to provide the service or product around the template. We've got people that are doing exactly that, starting other businesses, people that sell leads, people that are subcontracting out work, not doing the work, people that want to sell product like printer toner in a country that our client isn't in because they wanted to get into e-commerce. But we have a locksmith template as well. And so if you want to reach out to us for that, you can definitely reach out to me at my agency at guaranteedppc.com. I can have a conversation with you about how much we sell it. Beyond that, if you have any questions about anything you're doing in terms of locksmith campaigns, locksmith marketing for that matter, you can always leave me a comment in the comment section. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or a comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. On the key programming on that side of things, your booking rate should be about 75% from what data that we had available on these leads that were coming in. So with that said, you're talking about cost per job anywhere from $10 to $25, depending on what size of market you're in and which of these keyword categories you're picking from. You need to know as it comes to it. That said, once you get Google Ads working, you're going to move everything over to Microsoft/Bing, and you're going to get another, usually 30% more leads over there at the cost per acquisition you're looking for. And that's profitable, a similar cost per lead acquisition as I talked about here. So you're going to definitely do that as well for extra credit. You got to always make sure you're setting up your tracking correctly to go along with everything. If you don't have your tracking set up right, you can't expect these results. The algorithm lives and dies on tracking. And not just tracking if a call or a form fill comes in, but tracking when a booking happens. Feed that booking data back into your ad accounts on Google and Bing, and then set up the smart bidding to optimize for bookings, not calls. You can initially optimize for just calls, but you need to eventually get to the point where we're optimizing for bookings, and not only just bookings, but profit. That is revenue divided by ad spend. Because the algorithm is going to be able to find the tendencies of users that normally spend more money and jobs that normally net you more money within the available pool of people, and then bid more when an opportunity looks more juicier that comes through to make sure you're, whereas maybe you weren't going to get shown in some instances before, you're going to get shown now because you know that particular user that has a particular vehicle or searched a particular keyword in common, or both of those things in combination will convert at 10 times the rate the average user is. So therefore, Google automatically ups your bid so that you will for sure get that person, whereas before you would have lost it without that and the system's knowledge about what has worked for you in the past versus hasn't. And specifically on a sales/revenue/profit level. So that's another major tip. With all that said, I just want to also mention a lot of you guys that are trying to grow your locksmith business are trying to focus on your ads, and really it's not your ads that's the problem. It's your website, it's your pricing strategy, or it's your sales process, your phone handling process. If you want to know truly if you're wasting your time setting up these ads, because it's not always the ad's fault, reach out to me at my firm at guaranteedppc.com as well. I've been doing 30-minute coaching sessions with you guys that are not quite sure how to get to the next level in terms of revenue growth in your business. I can ask a few questions and then pretty much know for sure what you're stuck on, and I can do that confidently because I've worked with hundreds of small business owners now. I see what they struggle with. I got to be able to pick that up in order to know how to get results for clients on a guaranteed basis. Every single person who's been reaching out to me since I started offering these coaching calls with agency owners or businesses that aren't agencies in the last few months, they're all booking other follow-up coaching calls, and even at the price that we're charging for them. So with that said, it'll be 100% worth your time to do that, to get a second pair of eyes on your business and just find out, are you actually focusing on the right thing? And if it is the ads, what tweak you need to make the ads finally work. If you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. With that said, I'm going to wrap everything up with that. Thank you very much for watching as usual, and I'll see you in the next one.
Remember when I said landing page S was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.